What's up, guys? I am back again. This is my top 10 of 2010 Redux video. Essentially, over the last 6 months or so, I've purchased a lot more hip-hop, have broadened my horizons, so to speak, and I am now, I believe, prepared to give you a more in-depth, a better quality, not in visuals or sound, but a better quality as far as review and a more intellectual list. So I am going to go through all the years. Most of my lists have changed dramatically. Some of them have stayed almost completely the same. No matter what, you're still going to get the list. I'm just going to do a Redux video, kind of as a lead up to my year-end top 20 of 2020, which has been a hell of a year so far for hip-hop. So without further ado, my top 10 hip-hop albums of 2010. Again, if you're not familiar, I only review or rank albums I own personally in my collection. Cassette, which we're not going to see any cassettes, vinyl, or CD. So if you don't see an album, it's either because I don't own it or I just didn't like it enough. So, and we're going to start with my least favorite album of 2010. I actually have 12, so this is going to be number 12. Bottom line, the worst album of 2010 in my opinion, which has not changed. It is still Chiddy with their The Preview EP. Chiddy is a former hip-hop duo consisting of Chiddy on the mic and Zafun Jones on the beats. Pretty basic college rap, very electronic. There's a lot of keyboard, there's a lot of effects. The beats don't really have a whole lot of soul. There's not really a Madlib or an Alchemist vibe anywhere in this. It is party anthems. It reminds me a lot of like Shwayze, what Shwayze was doing back in the early 2010s. There's just not a whole lot of great stuff to it. Chiddy's lyrics are never interesting. He doesn't really, I think there's one bar in the entire EP that I thought was okay. But other than that, it's just partying, banging chicks, drinking. It's your very average Joe college rap party album. The one thing this has is the beats are different. And that's where Zafun Jones, I believe it's Zafun Jones comes in. Like I said, they almost have a techno vibe in a lot of them. There's a couple sample-based ones. I know on the Opposite of Adults, it has the kids sample from MGMT on it. So, my least favorite, Chiddy The Preview. Number 10, Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. Kid Cudi doesn't really need an introduction at this point. He's still making music to this day. A couple weeks ago, he released a song with Eminem on it. So, he's still moving. My biggest complaint about Kid Cudi is that his beats are very spacious and out of this world. They're very euphoric, and I just can't get into it. I like some of the lyrics. I like the storyline in the album itself. I like his talk of addiction and depression and anxiety. But, other than that, I'm not super convinced he's a talented rapper, one. And two, none of the beats really get me interested. And, really, three, it still has this hip-hop, but I wish I was a rock and roll artist type of vibe. And, it continues into Indicud. And, he did that weird-ass Wizard album. So, Kid Cudi I just don't think is for me. So number 10, Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager. Number 9, Eminem with Recovery, which is his 5th or 6th studio album. Everybody knows who Eminem is, Detroit rapper. Literally a started from the bottom story of him battling and going to the Rap Olympics and winning. And it's pretty phenomenal. The story he has is great. This album is not. Now, that is not to say it's my least favorite Eminem album. It surely isn't. See 2017 if you need more proof. And really, it's not even close to the bottom. I prefer this to Relapse. I prefer this to Encore. My biggest complaint about Recovery is just how commercial it is. Eminem has never been one that looks for commercial ways of getting his product sold because he can just sell it. Look at Eminem Show, Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady LP, even a Recovery or an Encore. I mean, his shock value is enough to sell his records, and if that's not, his lyrical and his rhyming ability is. And for some reason on Recovery, it seems as if he's focused a lot more on making those pop tunes, which has just continued on since Recovery. There's never really been a stopping point. He's always looking for the radio hits, which is fine, get paid, but I am not a fan of radio. So, I mean, that's my biggest complaint. Love The Way You Lie with Rihanna is a beautiful track, but if somebody would have told you in 2003 that Eminem would make a song called Love the Way You Lie featuring a pop sensation, nobody would have believed it, in my opinion. So, I mean, that's the biggest complaint I have with Recovery, is just how commercial it is. So, number 9, Eminem, Recovery. Number 8, Greaves, 88 Keys and Counting. Greaves is a Seattle, Washington rapper. Here from Rhymesayers Entertainment. This is her first or second on the label, and it is probably my least favorite, mainly because the emotions seem faked. It seems as if Greaves came on, Budo did all of the beats, it seems like, and Budo makes these very melancholic beats, and Greaves just kind of wrote lyrics and hooks to fit into these beats instead of really taking his own emotions and putting them on the tracks. That is not to say every song is unoriginal or unemotional or fake. I really enjoy Catapults, Kings, and October in the Graveyard, which are tracks 2, 3, and 4, respectively. But I just can't do it. It's very difficult for me to listen to an artist when I think what he's saying isn't real. As Greaves grows up, so to speak, and his music progresses with Together Apart and Winter in the Wolves and Running Wild, he has gotten better as far as making sure that not every track is melancholic, like on 88 Keys and Counting, where it's really just gets very, very old very quickly, especially if you just think some of those emotions are faked. So number 8, Greaves, 88 Keys and Counting. Excuse me. Number 7, also really hasn't changed much. DJ Muggs versus Ill Bill, Kill Devil Hills. DJ Muggs, the famous producer / DJ from Cypress Hill. Ill Bill, the infamous underground legend, formerly of Nonfiction, with his brother Necro. Big part of La Coca Nostra with Slain, and essentially all of House of Pain. Heavy Metal Kings with Vinnie Paz. He's worked with Sean Price. I mean, Army of the Pharaohs. He's essentially done a lot with any of those hardcore hip-hop guys from the underground. This, I'm not sure where this falls in either one of their discographies. I know that DJ Muggs has continued to do this Versus series, and you'll actually see one later on in 2019. But I mean, both guys are consistent. The album is good. It's not great. I mean, it's not something that I'm going to sit down and listen to over and over again every single day. My biggest complaint is the mixing is a little bit under par, and Ill Bill already swallows his words as it is, and so it's already hard enough to understand him. And so when you've got bad mixing and the beats take over, you might as well just not have Ill Bill on the track at all. Again, not to say that it's a bad album. I mean, that's my biggest complaint. You've still got some fantastic features. Slain, Everlast, Be Real is on here. Sick Jackin', Sean Price appears. I mean, you've still got some great features. You've got the amazing Illuminati 666 track, which is essentially just a conspiracy theory song in the vein of Diabolic, Apathy, you know, the type of guys that do those. So number 7, DJ Muggs versus Ill Bill, Kill Devil Hills. Number 6, Gangrene with Gutter Water. Gangrene consists of The Alchemist, the famous producer, worked with the Griselda Boys, worked with Freddie Gibbs, done a lot with About Anybody, and Ono, who is a California rapper producer, little brother of Madlib. This is Gangrene's debut full-length project. And it's a very similar to Kill Devil Hills. It's great. It's not amazing. I'm not seeking this album out of my collection. I'm not even seeking this out of Gangrene's discography. This probably falls in last place as far as I'm concerned. There's still some really great tracks on it. Every beat bangs and it's perfect. It really reminds me of the J-Lib Champion Sounds album, only both producers can rap. I apologize, Madlib, and rest in peace, J Dilla, but they are fantastic producers. Their MCing isn't always top of the line. It doesn't have to be. That's not the point of the projects. I understand that. Gangrene, Alchemist, and Ono can both rap. They both keep it interesting, and they both appear on multiple yearly lists because they're just both phenomenal hip-hop artists. Gangrene-Gutter Water at number 5, 6, number 6. I'm losing track. ESPN's trying to tell me something. I'm trying to flow through these videos. Number 5. This one is dropped because this is kind of where you'll start seeing the difference of the new albums I've got. Number 5, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Kanye West, Chicago rapper and producer, discovered by Jay-Z. Very big production credits on The Blueprint. This is his 4th or 5th album. I want to say 5th. And the best produced hip-hop album of the decade. I will say that confidently. The beats on here are so fucking good that if this was a beat tape, it would probably still be in the same position it's in for this year. My biggest concerns about Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, is the rapping. And I know, again, very similar to J-Lib Champion Sound, that's not the point. The beats are orchestral, they're beautiful, they're almost organic yet they're almost organic yet electronic at the same time. I mean, the beats are fantastic, but at some point a rap album has to have good rapping on it, right? I mean, Kanye doesn't do a terrible job. I hate his singing, but he doesn't do a terrible job. Mainly it's the features I have issues with. Jay-Z really doesn't show up on this album like he does with Watch the Throne. I mean, Nicki Minaj's feature on Monster is fantastic. Pusha T kills it every time he touches the mic on this album. But then you've got, your Sahi the Prince and, Hawthorne. Malik Youssef, I believe, ends up on here as a spoken word poet and really has this kind of beautiful poetry session almost on it. But it leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Like I said, if I was judging it purely on beats, it would probably be in the same position. The rapping really doesn't take away from the beats that much, especially when the beats build and they're so big. And my other complaint is the length, obviously. I mean, over an hour. There's either Runaway or So Appalled is like 11 minutes, which is great if I'm listening to a black metal record and you're keeping me either in a trance or hypnotized. But with hip-hop, it's very hard to keep someone's attention for that long, and I just don't think this album quite did it. Again, it's number 5 on my list. It's not horrible. I'm not saying that, but that is what I think. So number 5, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Number 4, Chron Flight Brothers with Cape Verde. Chron Flight Brothers are a hip-hop underground New York duo consisting of the elusive Billy Woods, which is a very, 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 very underground rapper who I just discovered, and I am slowly falling in love with all of his stuff. And Privilege, who I am not familiar with other than Chron Flight Brothers, and I'm not a big fan of. It's a great album. Again, it's a little lengthy. You're getting over an hour. I believe this one's an hour and 15. And the beats are kind of give or take. It's a very, very much a Billy Woods album where they're not going to be the most common, the most follow this straight and narrow line beats, but Billy Woods keeps it interesting, and actually Privilege comes through with some fantastic bars. I believe it's on either Golden Grams or GMA. Privilege just goes on this huge verse, and every bar is a breakfast cereal or a condiment. I mean, he's very big on the food puns, and he really keeps it interesting. But again, my biggest thing, Privilege just is not interesting. I wish he was. I wish I could listen to him and just be engaged, but he almost sounds bored, which makes me bored, which makes the record seem twice as long. The saving grace is obviously Billy Woods, and Privilege, if you can get past how bored he sounds, I mean, his lyrics are fantastic. He's on Billy Woods level. This is the original Arm & Hammer, in my opinion. I mean, these guys are fantastic. I just wish the album wasn't that long, and I wish just Privilege showed a little bit more interest in what he was doing. So number 4, Super Chron Flight Brothers with Cape Verde. Number 3, Hopsin-Raw. There's not a whole lot to discuss. Hopsin's kind of a big name right now. Based out of California, signed to Ruthless Records, released Gazing at the Moonlight, which was trash in my opinion. Hated his contract, hated how much publicity he got. Left the label, started Funk Volume with Damian Ritter, released Raw. Probably my second favorite full length he's ever done. Fantastic beats, fantastic bars, fantastic hooks. I mean, you're still going to have your Hopsin antics, his over-the-top trying to offend you a lot of the time. It's really not a Hopsin album without that, but it is still a good album. I Can't Decide, Nocturnal Rainbow, Sag My Pants. I mean, these are just off the top of my head. They're fantastic songs. You still have your bad taste songs, so to speak. I'm not introducing you. I'm not a big fan of Kill Her, which is literally just about killing Eazy-E's widow, who is the head of Ruthless Records now. Which I get. You have an issue with her. Not a necessary song. So Hopsin-Raw at number 3. Great album. Number 2, Guilty Simpson and Madlib with OJ Simpson. Guilty Simpson is another one of those stone's throw underground rappers based out of Detroit. Madlib, as I talked about earlier when I was talking about Gangrene, California rapper producer, mastermind behind Quasimodo, which is just a brilliant idea. One half of Mad Villain with MF Doom, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Doom record. This album is also really good. It's in this position because the beats are almost up there with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Madlib's soulful, sample-heavy beats really shine through on this record, and Guilty rides them like waves, and it's perfect. Guilty's bars never really get too boring. He keeps you interested. My biggest issue with this album is it's 24 tracks, and about 14 are samples or skits or interludes. That's an estimate. There are a lot, though. I mean, I could probably count them, but I don't have the patience. The actual songs, the music on here is fantastic. I just don't understand why you would go and ruin an album with that many skits, interludes, and samples. Or not samples, intermissions, whatever. So great album. Check it out. Great bars, great beats. Just, it's an hour long. It's 24 tracks. Push through. You will be fine. Guilty Simpson, OJ Simpson with Madlib. And number 1, which is a huge jump from number 2. I'm talking Guilty Simpson's an 8. This is a 10. Same Diabolic-Liar A Thief. Top 5 of the decade still. One of the best albums I've ever heard. Some of the best bars, best beats, best features. I mean, you cannot find anything wrong with this album as far as I'm concerned. Diabolic really keeps you interested. You really got to listen to pick up all of his double entendres, his wordplay. He's rhyming shit that shouldn't rhyme. I mean, this reminds me of a lot of Eminem purely because of the rhyme schemes and the way he puts words together. I mean, he's a lyrical genius. He's a wordsmith. I love this record. I recommend Diabolic to every single person I see. So yeah, number 1, Diabolic-Liar A Thief. As far as awards go, kind of the same thing. We got 6 awards. I'm just going to go through them rather quickly. Best song still goes to 12 Shots off of Liar A Thief by Diabolic. Really cool story with a very morbid ending. It kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, I didn't expect it. You might. Maybe you're a better detective than me. Best verse also goes to Diabolic for the second verse on I Don't Want to Rhyme. You will hear it. You will understand why. The dude can spit. I mean, I almost could have gave best song or best verse to every single track on the Diabolic's record. I tried not to. I didn't want to be that guy. I will say my second favorite verse of the year is Guns and Pussy off of Cape Verde by Super Chron Flight Brothers, which is another story Billy Woods tells. It's fucking funny. It's fantastic. It is so good. I had to give it to Diabolic, though, just because, I mean, that second verse on I Don't Want to Rhyme is brutal as shit. Best hook goes to Hopsin for I Can't Decide, not only for the auto-tuned crooning, which isn't as overblown and overdone as it is a lot of the time now. It's very tastefully put in there. But the beat, when the hook kicks in, has this very G-funk feel to it. And I mean, it's just a fantastic hook. It fits the song beautifully. And I mean, it's really hard to find a better hook than that for 2010. Best feature goes to Pusha T on Runaway. Go listen to the track. I know it's long, I get it, but Push's verse is so fucking good. And I mean, Push is just, he's still the king to this day of features. I don't know how he does it, but he does it great. Best beat goes to anything off of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. My favorite is Blame Game. It's such a gorgeous track. The melody just really keeps me involved and interested. And best artwork goes to Gangrene with Gutter Water, which I will show you. I didn't show any of the other ones because I'm trying to go quickly. That's my favorite album art of the year, just like it was the first time I did the video, mainly because that album artwork just does the album justice. It is grimy, underground, just sewer-ridden boom bap hip-hop, and I love it. So that's my list. Top 10 of 2010. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you did not, give me a thumbs down. But if you give me a thumbs down, tell me in the comments why you didn't like it. I mean, I can fix some stuff I can't fix. This is my opinion. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I'm really not sorry. I just say that type of thing. Give me your list. I would love to see your top 10 of 2010. Give me some recommendations on other albums from 2010, because, I mean, honestly, this is kind of a shit year, in my opinion. It was very difficult to listen to the 2010 albums. I only have 12 of them, and it was hard. So I appreciate the watch, and I will see you next time with my top 11 hip-hop albums of 2011. Thanks.